What is going on, everyone? Misha Wilson here. Let me know what your name is and where you are coming in from as you hop on here live with me. It's a beautiful day out here today, and I want to discuss the topic of email marketing, following up on yesterday's episode of Marketing with Misha, and discuss what to write in your emails, what to know, how to know what to write in your emails, and how to come up with never-ending content creation ideas. So let me know with a quick comment in the chat box below if the background noise is too much. Give me a quick no, we're all good, if we're all good. And I think we're good. There's a weed whacker off in the distance there, but I can't actually see comments now that I see. Let me see. Okay, cool. I can now. And cool, it looks like we're good. So let's go ahead and dive into today's episode of Marketing with Misha. Good morning, everyone. Good to see all of you guys. And today we're going to discuss the topic of how to come up with ideas for your actual email marketing, how to come up with a never-ending flood of ideas, and again, following up on yesterday's episode, how to come up with ideas specifically for your AM messages. All right, so this is again a topic that's really near and dear to my heart because I really built my business. One of the key skill sets that allowed me to get to the six-figure mark when I first broke through in my business, and go from $9,755 in debt, go from being evicted in two different houses that I had moved into, go from just being stuck in shiny object syndrome, buying one thing after the next, jumping to one product, one system, one service after the next. One of the skill sets that really allowed me, one of the critical skill sets I would say that allowed me to break through was getting good at email marketing and at least increasing my proficiency in that actual skill set, right? And it's one of the things where you see so many people out there, they build email lists. You see so many people out there, they get to a point where they're generating leads. They get to a point where they're building their audience. They get to a point where they're in that first stage where it's actually, they're seeing positive results, but then they don't know what kind of content to come up with in order to go ahead and mail your list. And I've been there myself, and that's what I wanted to address right now here today. So give me some comments, likes, hearts, shares, all that good stuff if you guys want the goods, and I'll go ahead and dive right in. So firstly, the biggest mistake I see most people make when it comes to marketing, email marketing specifically, is the fact that they're too content driven. All right, it's always content, it's always how to, it's always how to set up a blog, how to create a YouTube video, how to set up a traffic campaign, how to set up tracking link, whatever it may be. They're always teaching in the how to context and kind of giving more information than really entertainment. All right, and you have to look at the fact that on average in America, I don't know outside of America, but I read, I believe, a couple of years ago, on average, it was that people read one book per year and they watched 6 hours of TV per day. All right, so one book per year, 6 hours of TV per day. Now, that could kind of show us where we're at inside of America, right? And we could, try to change that, or we could just essentially go with the flow and use that information to our advantage as marketers. And so what that tells us is that people are, again, more inclined to tune in to entertainment, all right? They're more inclined to tune in to someone that just kind of, allows them to escape their regular kind of, day-to-day life. Most people aren't super satisfied with their life. Most people aren't, loving every minute of the day. And that's why they tune into TV so much. That's why they try to tune out of their reality and tune into something else that engages their mind, that engages their imagination, that engages, really their, mental capacities without having to have them focus on their problems, their issues, what they're dealing with, and so on and so forth, all right? And so if you can position your email marketing and marketing in general as just someone who allows people to, tune in to something interesting for 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes a day, to tune into something that allows them to escape their reality for 15, 20, 30 minutes a day, to tune into something that allows them to just kind of in general forget about everything else for just a little while, you will have an extreme superpower of getting people's attention that very, 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 very few people have out there in the marketplace right now here today, and just in general. And give me a quick no in the comments box if that isn't too loud. If it is too loud, let me know yes. and I'll head inside. I can hear the weed blower, I believe now, but I don't think you guys can hear it too badly in the background. So with that said, how do you do it, all right? How do you become that person that just essentially gives them that 15 minutes of escape, that 15 minutes of entertainment, that 15 minutes of just, giving them something to tune out to? And the most powerful way, without a shadow of a doubt, is stories, all right? So ever since, if you think about it, the beginning of time, people communicate with stories. What do we remember more than anything else? Stories. What are, entire cultures built on? Stories. What are people told over the campfire that get passed down generation to generation to generation to generation? Stories, right? And so the minute you start telling stories, the minute you start engaging with your audience in storytelling format, is the minute that you'll get their attention, is the minute that you'll have more of their attention more often, and is the minute that you'll be able to engage them, and with that engagement, you can again build more of a relationship with that audience. So again, stories. How do I tell a story? Why should I tell a story? Why should be pretty self-explanatory at this point, right? How do you come up with story concepts that work into your marketing and feed your business? And really, it's all about, finding what you stand for, finding what you stand against, figuring out your attractive character. Again, that's a different topic for another day. Figuring out who you are to the marketplace, figuring out what values you stand for, what values you stand against, and then telling stories that work those different values in, and then at the same time, sell products and services to your audience within those stories, all right? So just a quick example, a little story here for you, all right? So a while ago, it was at the first Maui Intensive. I believe Karen was there. Karen, how are you? And I gave this example because, again, it's just how I would essentially look at a story, find a story, and use it on the fly, all right? So for all of you watching, you guys know that I always preach on the importance of hard work and investing in yourself, in, putting in the extra time, putting in the extra effort, and going the extra mile to get the job done, right? And during the first Maui Intensive, I think on the third day, we went out to get lunch, and there was a guy there at the actual little convenience store that we were getting lunch at, and he essentially was chilling, getting ready to go home, getting ready to tune out from going to work, and it was, I think, 1 PM, and we got into a conversation, and he went on to tell me how sick he was, and he went on to tell me that, he wasn't, fit to go to work, he wasn't ready to go and complete the rest of the day at work, and that his sickness was holding him back. And then in the same breath, his friend came out with, I believe, a 12-pack of Heineken, and it became very clear that he wasn't sick. It became very clear that he wasn't, actually unable to work. It was just more of him wanting to go and have a good time and party and go drink beers on the beach, right? And so I immediately thought in my mind as a marketer, so the first key is to always be looking at different things that happen to you on a daily basis as potential ideas for stories, all right? And I want to tell this guy to shut up for a couple of minutes because I can't focus here. But then secondly, my mind immediately engaged, and I started thinking about, again, what kind of story could I tell around this topic? And so the story essentially was how, we were going out to lunch, I met this guy, I told the exact same story that I just told you, but then I tied in the fact that, if you want to achieve success, you can't, want something for nothing. If you want to achieve success, you can't take sick days every single time you don't quite feel like working. If you want to achieve success, you can't, shy away from work at the slightest little resistance that the world gives you, because the truth is there's always going to be that resistance. If you want to create success, you have to be willing to put in the work. You have to be willing to put in the time. You have to be willing to put in the effort, and you have to be willing to go all in with your business, because you're all in or you're all out. And then I tie it in a very simple, if you're all in, if you're willing to do the work, if you're truly committed to, creating the future that you long for, click here right now and get started today. All right. So that's a true story that actually happened. It's a true story about how I would essentially, have the mindset of how can I use this thing that just happened to me as an actual story in my marketing, and then how would tie in different values that I stand for and stand against. All right. So hard work, I stand for, I stand against wanting something for nothing. Always investing in yourself, I stand for, I stand against, shying away from work at the slightest little, hint of resistance, and then tying in an offer that's congruent with the actual topic at hand. And so that's my message for you here today. I mean, another example, the movie The Notebook, right? I watched The Notebook, a week ago with my girlfriend now, at least the second half. I never thought I'd say that on a Facebook Live, but I watched The Notebook a week ago, and I noticed that the guy he was competing against, I'm gonna freaking kill this guy. Let me go inside. It's getting closer and closer as we go. So I watched the movie The Notebook, and I noticed that the character in the movie that Ryan Gosling was essentially competing with was the rich guy, all right? The guy that had a bunch of, finances, the guy that did really well financially. And I noticed how oftentimes in movies, the rich guy is portrayed as the bad guy. The Notebook, he wasn't really a bad guy, but if you look at, Superman, if you look at, Spider-Man, if you look at all the different movies out there, the Titanic, where the bad guy is the person with a bunch of money, what's that doing to your subconscious? So essentially I took that story of me watching The Notebook, I tied in the lesson of stop demonizing the bad guy, stop demonizing the guy with money, stop demonizing the guy who, has the money, stop demonizing the guy as the evil capitalist, and get your subconscious right, because you need that the story illustrates, right? So the parable that the actual story illustrates, and then from there, last, have a call to action to an offer that, of course, your clients get extreme value out of, and when they go ahead and purchase, not only is your life better, but theirs is as well. So a little bit of a broken message here today with the dude who felt compelled to fire up the weed whacker and then fire up the leaf blower simultaneously back to back and then come closer to the house as I was presenting today's message. But with that said, I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for the great question when it comes to how do you come up with daily content for your actual emails. I would highly recommend 80% story, 20% content. 80% story, 20% content, all right? There are a certain percentage of people on your list that you want to go ahead and give straight content to, but you want it to be 80% stories, 20% content, because everyone remembers stories, everyone engages with stories, and everybody wants to hear a good story at the end of the day. And most people out there will shy away from content as quickly as humanly possible. So appreciate each and every one of you guys. Sorry for the distractions. And until next time, talk soon. All right, guys, later.